Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name's Max and today we're going to be doing another sketchbook video, but it's not going to be like a sketchbook ideas thing because we've been there and done that like a million times. I'm going to be decorating my sketchbook for school. This is a sketchbook and I thought I'd show you in case you hadn't seen one before, just so that you were prepared and you weren't absolutely shocked when I started the video, so you can thank me for that later. So here I'm showing you an example of what I mean when I say an eye-catching spread that is mainly text. So as you can see, the left-hand side is mainly empty, and that is where you're going to draw your actual copy, and then on the right-hand side, that is the essay that you have to write about it. You do not have to copy every single thing that I say, but I'm going to give you a lot of tips on how you can very easily turn your essays from really boring to something that is actually artistic. So, color coordination is quite important. As you can see, the little doodles I've done, they are brown, while the copy of the image is also going to be brown. Also consistency, so I've used the same font for all the titles and then the same font for the text. Now, considering the text, you want to use a big font so that it's easy to read. Don't pick Times New Roman because it's hard to read. Pick a Century School Book instead, or a different font, so it makes it way easier to read. Also, break your text up. As you can see I've done here, I've put each section into a text box and printed it out separately so I can arrange it nicely on the page. Interactivity can also be something you can add. It's not compulsory, obviously, but it can kind of save on space as well. So what I'm planning to do is on the right hand side, underneath where there's those 3 blocks of space, I'm going to add 3 pictures of the stages of the copy of the piece I do. So like one for the sketch and then one for part of the color. And then underneath, when you flip it up, I'm going to have some written stuff about my thought process behind it. And I'm also going to show you how to make this nifty little thing in a few moments. Another thing that is super important is symmetry, and as you can see, the right hand side isn't completely symmetrical, sort of centered, you know what I mean. It's arranged nicely. You also want to make sure that the copy of the image you do is as big as possible, and is also in proportion to the original image. So print out a picture if you don't have one already, measure it, and then times it by 2, see if that will fit on your page, and if not, then times it by 1.5, and just keep doing that until you find the biggest size that you can fit on your page while still being in proportion. So this is how you make that nifty little integrated title that I was just showing you, and this is a cool way of adding some interactivity to your sketchbook. So the first thing you need to do is write out the title, and this can be like the title of your unit. I've just said summer work because this is my summer work that I had to do. And you type it out on Word, pick a funky font, ideally one that's coordinated with the rest of your title fonts, and then put it to white and then highlight it with any color that you want. And it has to be a color that you have a colored card of, so I've used black because I also thought that that would match the sketchbook cover. So what I'm doing here is I'm just drawing around it and adding a little bit of extra space. You want sort of 2 or 3 centimeters extra in length than what you've already got. You want to cut it out, and then you want to draw a line halfway down that 3 centimeter gap I told you about, and then you want to just chop that whole end clean off. Then on both the end of the big strip and on that new little strip, you want to cut a big gouge, and you want to line it up as I'm doing here with the spiral of the book so you can see how big the gouge needs to be. You should get this kind of square looking C shape from your thinner end, and you want to thread that behind the spiral, either on the top spiral or the one just under it, and then line up your other one, which would look like a backwards C shape with a long old tail. And then you want to get some masking tape, you want to get a thin bit, and you want to wrap it tightly around, seal that up nicely so that it's a nice kind of square. You've got options for the next bit. Either get double-sided sticky tape and then cut a piece as I'm doing here. That is the size of the masking tape that you need to cover over. Or you could do what I'm doing, which is cutting a piece that's that size but out of sticker paper. I could not find my double-sided sellotape at the time, so I just did it this way. And then you want to stick that neatly over where the masking tape is. And then you want to get, in my case, a black Sharpie or any coloured pen that matches the colour of the card. Then use either glue or double-sided sticky tape to stick over the original printed label, and then you have your little guy. Obviously, you want to have nice and crisp straight lines, but not everyone has a guillotine like I'm using here, so I've made this other method that you can use that is just as effective at getting those nice straight lines that you want. So for this, you will need a scalpel and one of these mats that has a grid that is for cutting on, and a nice long, ideally metal ruler, but I use a plastic one here and it's fine. Then you want to get your bit of paper that you're cutting, you want to get your ruler, and you want to line it up nicely on the edge of what you're trying to cut, just like I'm doing here. And it is literally simple as that. You just run the scalpel across the top of your ruler and you get a nice straight line. Obviously, scalpels are sharp, be careful not to cut your fingers, and if you are under the age of 13, then you need adult supervision, I've decided. And then if there's any little straggly bits, which there probably will be because it's not as secure, then just get scissors and chop them off. Now I'm just going to give you a step-by-step example of how to set out a page like this. So it isn't that hard, as you could have guessed, but what you need to do first is make sure everything's cut out neatly and then arrange it on your page how you want it, like I'm doing here. Then you want to map out where your actual copy, your actual bit of art is going to go, and you want to make sure that's as big as possible, like I said, and it's important you do this first so you don't accidentally cover any areas with your cutouts and then compromise on size. And this is where I'm adding the color coordinated, more artistic bit of the page. I'm just getting some colored paper that match the colors in the image, and I'm using them to do borders for the titles. And as you can see, they don't fit behind the like the bigger bits, like the text boxes in the image, because it's like too tight of a gap. Then you want to arrange all of these components, and you want to use your ruler and a pencil to mark out where they're going to go, and you want to try and keep it as exact as possible, but you don't need to spend ages picking over it like I did. Just make sure that they're all the same distance from the edges of the pages. What I like to do is put a little marker in each corner. You can see me doing that there, and then on the back I'm using double-sided sticky tape to stick them down instead of glue, because as you know, if you use glue, some of it can accidentally end up on the paper and leave those nasty, crusty, little shiny bits that you can't draw over. And this is the final thing I ended up with. As you can see, I've added some coloured borders in pencil because that would actually fit. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!